Have you heard the one where I learned muscle testing? So, applied kinesiology. That's, I guess, the technical term. I was a health coach, and I was also really into like the new age stuff. I was very open-minded. Everything is everything. Light, we're light and energy and the universe and blah, 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 all the things. And I, started a business on my own, and that was peas and carrots. And then I decided I wanted to work for somebody else. Now, all of this really does come into play with what I do now, but it has been an interesting ride. So, the place that I worked, I enjoyed it. I learned everything from the good, the bad, and the ugly. And to be honest, I think that they just were working with powers that they didn't really understand and was under the guise of science. And of course, me being like into all of that stuff, it was it felt like a very good fit. I was into tarot card readings, I was into psychics, I was into past life regression. I even like really did believe that our group at this place were like Nazis in a past life, and we bonded, and nobody understood us, and we were probably killing many people, and that we used that and to be bonded as a group. I don't know how it came about, but that's really what I thought. And so when working for this place, I learned about muscle testing. And I did clean heart, like some really scientific, legit things, and working with off of the nervous system. And there's a whole thing, you can even look it up about, the biophotons and how we're reading the biophotons. And it all, makes a lot of sense in it. And it really, there is something to be said about, you push down muscles, strong, muscle, weak, and it shows you what is good and bad for the system. So it's like it's almost like a shock to the system or a flinch that like you put a supplement in your hand and your body's like, no, it's not good. It'll be strong. This is a little bit of a childish way of saying it, but this is like what I'm trying to emphasize is that, there is some science behind it. But what we did is we started to begin, and I was what's called a surrogate. So that means that I would be the one that they would constant push on, and I would be, touching the client, and then this would be a circuit, an energy circuit, and so the readings would come off on my arm. Well, as I begun this, and I was having a hard time not as in like feeling it, like I felt like, and I went to the boss and I said, I feel like I'm being like hacked here, spiritually hacked. And he's like, it's your nervous system, don't worry about it. And to be honest, I think, he was probably right. I feel like I was probably getting some enemy attacks there, and they love the nervous system. And so, yeah, I think it was kind of correct. And I feel like that's what was being done to everyone who worked there. Like, the gifted are the ones that are being attacked, and not by humans, spiritual attack. And so I really do believe that what I was feeling wasn't just my nervous system, but I got through it. And, I talked to my friend in the New Age world, and she's like, yeah, that makes sense. And it all made sense. So I did a little prayer to the universe and went on about my business. After that, we started doing everything remote. So instead of working with a person with my hand, we worked with hair. So that was DNA. DNA is quantum entanglement. Whatever happens to this DNA is happening to that DNA. It all makes a lot of sense. And so I started working with that. And then I started being what I called the arm. I was the arm. And I was able to start to feel it before they pushed. So I'd know that, like, oh my goodness, this supplement is not good for them. And then they would push, and it would be strong or what have you, a week, whatever it was, I was able to kind of feel it before it was going on. So this started to get to be a little bit more, I'm like, okay, well, is this my nervous system reacting? Is this intuition? Well, I don't know what this is. So learning that method really got me in tune with my nervous system and the feelings that came through it, whether it's almost like Morse code, whether it be a yes or whether it be a no. And I started to be able to feel that on my own, enough so that I could tune in to do it on my own. So this is a way of muscle testing. Another way of muscle testing is like your finger. Some people do a sway. Some people use a pin. I have a book right there. What's it called? The body code, or the emotional code, body code, emotional code. That like teaches you how to do it. And so I was learning how to do it, I guess, holographically, because what you're doing is you're doing this. This is my no, this is my yes. And you can do it for others, or you could do it for yourself. And you're trying to get the answers of no or yes and tuning into the nervous system. So I started doing that more and more and more, practicing, having other people check me, and I got to be pretty good at it. And about this time, I'm working as a health coach, I'm doing this, and I remember just being overstressed, being overworked, being just not happy, not at peace. And I remember not wanting to work Saturdays, and they said, oh, you got to work Saturdays. And so I kind of like stood my ground. I'm like, I'm not doing it, whatever. And so then they brought me in, and they had a whole presentation. And there was something on the board that said, smart, like a little triangle, smart, humble, and hustle. And they sat me down and they said, you've got the smart and you got the hustle. You just don't have the humility. And I remember like wanting to toss tables. I'm like, hold my nails, hold my earrings. I was like pissed. I was pissed. And I was like, you got it wrong. I have humility. And but like, I didn't have the hustle. That's what I thought. I didn't have the hustle, but I felt I had the humility. But they were right in a way. So God can speak through people. He can use anyone at any time for anything. And I honestly think that God used them to help me. So I wasn't humble. Now, did I need to be humble to humans? No, I did not need to be a humble human to humans. I needed to be a humble human to God. And so I think that's where my anger came. It's like, I will not be humble to humans. And so I, put up a stink. So I quit and, or fired. I don't know. It was a little bit of both. It was amicable. But this was in the midst of Josh wanting to move to Florida. And I was like, how can I move? I have a job I freaking love. Max is going to this farm school that, is perfect. It's homeschool, farm school. I have all my friends. It's just, I can't do it. Well, at this time, the farm school fell apart. My job fell apart. And there wasn't anything left for me to stay for. So God showed me the door, even though, again, I love to go kicking and screaming. But I was supposed to go, and I was supposed to go at that time. Now, that being said, muscle testing, is it wrong? Is it bad? Is it good? I don't even know. I do know that when I pray now, I am working for God. I'm working for the kingdom. I'm not working for the universe or science or light or whatever. I'm working for who's in charge. So that's what becomes a harder thing to explain. So the gifts that I had, the gifts that we all have, they were given to us from God. So they were always there. But they were tainted. It was counterfeit. So it's like the enemy cannot create. The enemy can only copy or take something and distort it. So if there is something supernatural happening in the dark, in the darkness, it's only there because it's happened from God. And if you read the Bible, it's all freaking supernatural. It's like, oh my gosh, what you're trying to tell me that, like, following a star isn't supernatural. A woman giving birth without, having sex, that's not supernatural. And then like some guy who's, dead and then coming back to life. Like, it's all supernatural. So when you see it for that, then you can start to see where the lies are and where it's just a little off. And so that's what I felt. Started seeing darker things, when I was in that world. And I was able to use my discernment, but I didn't have anything to ground me. I didn't have anything to keep me from just going out into the ethers. And I didn't have peace, and I didn't have joy, and I didn't have anything that kept me connected to Source, to God. And so now that I'm through the woods and out of the weeds, I can see the sadness and the loneliness and the disconnect I had. And now I can use the discernment and even my nervous system for good. And so now when I pray, I speak out to God and I pray for people and listen for words of knowledge, words of wisdom, words of whatever. And through this transition, I've been using this, because it's easy for me. It's my habits. It's what I know. And God really did tell me, he's like, look, you're going to stop using that eventually, but it's not time yet. I'll let you know. And in the last couple of weeks, he's let me know that I'm going to stop this. And it's not that it's bad, and it's not that it's wrong, and it's not that it's, not godly. It's not that at all. It's just that I don't need it. That with the greatness that he is, I don't need my little fingers to do the work. So I'm going to just try to hear. And I do feel it in my muscles still. And that's, that's a gift. And I am so thankful to what I learned, to be able to tune into that part of my body to where it's like, I know what my no is. My no is tense. And I know what my yes is. My yes is loose. So when asking questions, when talking to God, and I am praying for people, and I'm like, does this person, have a physical issue? My arm will go stiff instead of stiff. And then if I say, is this a spiritual issue? And it's a yes, then it'll go loose, or it'll go loose. And so I'm working on it. It's taking more time to start fresh and start new and stop with my fingers and just feel my muscles do the connecting. So it's going to take some time. It's always hard to learn something new. But anyone that has got a gift and is still feeling like they're lonely or in the dark, just know that that's part of it. It's kind of like you're being attacked for for having this gift. And there's a specific point that they're trying to keep you complacent, because if you used your gifts for good, if you used them for the kingdom and for whoever's in charge, our God, if you used it for that, it would be ridiculously magnificent. And so I feel like my coworkers, they all had it. They all have this. And the reason we got booted It wasn't our bosses, it wasn't the humans. It was that God didn't want us there. And that's sometimes hard to swallow. But that's not where we were supposed to be. And now I feel like part of my journey and a part of my gifts and a part of like what I'm supposed to be doing is reaching down into the pits and pulling people up. To show them the difference between counterfeit and lies and the truth. So, I mean, that's all I guess I can really do is try and keep to whatever the scripture says and keep whatever the God says and you know, and just keep knowing that if I'm constantly searching for truth, I'm constantly searching for God. And if I keep finding truth, I'm finding God, and vice versa. So justice, happiness, peace, and truth. That's all I'm going for. All right, so that's about muscle testing. But yeah, I'll tell you all about it in person if you want.